Hi, Lynn Mercurio here for Splitcoaststampers, and today I'm going to show you how to make a never-ending card. Today for my sample I created a card celebrating spring, yay! And the never-ending cards, they're a lot of fun to make, and they look kind of complicated at first sight, but once you see how they're put together, they're not complicated at all. So this is my sample card. Here's the front side. You open it up to the second side. You open it up again to the third side. Open it up again to the last side. And then you continue on. And they're so much fun and interactive that you just don't want to put it down. Hence the name, Never Ending Card. So today I'll show you how to create your base. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to need will be a scoreboard of some kind, whatever your preference is. You're going to need 4 pieces of layering weight cardstock, and these will be cut 3 inches by 6 inches, and you're going to need 4 of those. You're also going to need some coordinating cardstock. I'm using pink just for this demonstration, and you're going to need 8 2 3/4 inch squares. You're also going to need 4 2 3/4 by 1 1/4 inch rectangles. And you're also going to need 16 1 1/4 inch squares. Now we'll get started on the base. To begin with, it's fairly simple. We're going to start by scoring our cardstock along the long edge at 1 1/2 and 4 1/2, and then we're going to turn our cardstock and score again at 1 1/2 from the top just down to where the line intersects with the other score line. You'll turn it around and do it on the other side, 1 1/2 to the intersect. Now you're going to do this on all 4 pieces of cardstock at 1 1/2, 4 1/2, turn it, 1 1/2 from the top to the intersect, turn it around on the bottom, 1 1/2 to the intersect, twice more, 1 1/2, 4 1/2, 1 1/2, stop at the intersect, and one more time, 1 1/2, 4 1/2, and then 1 1/2 at the intersect. Great. Now that you have those pieces together, the part of bringing the card together comes in right here. And to kind of show you an example of how we're going to lay these, we're going to take these 2 and line them up here on our board. And we're going to make sure that the center lines butt together in the center, running vertical. The next 2 pieces we're going to take and we're going to butt them together with the center lines meeting horizontally. And just as a demonstration, I wanted to show you what the score lines will look like, because it's really hard to see white scored lines on white paper on a video camera. And the little green squares are going to show you, let me turn this the right way. The little green squares are going to show you where we're going to apply our glue. And I like to use a white craft glue when I'm putting the pieces together on the base, simply because it gives me a little more time to align the pieces together so that I make sure that all the edges are straight and correct, because having the edges cattywampus will interfere with the way that the card turns when you're finished. Okay, so let's remove these pieces here. These were just for reference only. And if it helps you at all to use a little piece of low tack tape to hold these pieces together while you're gluing them together, that's perfectly fine. I've got some right here. We'll just hold the edges together. And I'll apply the glue in the 4 corners. And you'll remember that this has the horizontal line meeting together. And I'll do the same thing with those, adding the glue to the outermost 4 corners. Okay, so what we're going to do is, just for the sake of visuals here, I'm going to take this top part and I'm going to turn it over, glue sides together, and I'm going to align the papers together to make sure that they are meeting together. And this is where the glue comes in handy, because if you were to use a tape runner, once you stuck those down together, they are stuck. They're not moving anywhere. So the glue gives you just a little bit of wiggle room there. Okay. Now the bottom half, the same thing, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to take it over, turn it over, glue sides together, align the edges, and press those down. Now it won't take very long for the glue to dry. So you can just hold those in place until that dries. Okay, once we're sure that that glue has dried, now comes the fun part. We're going to turn our card this way so that the opening is in the center here. We're going to gently turn this right side to where the score lines naturally want to turn. Now remember, we've already scored those, so it should be easy to find them. Once you've got that turned over, we're just going to burnish it with the edge of our scoring tool or whatever you happen to use. You're going to do the same thing with the other side, letting it fold over to where those score lines, you can remove your tape now, burnish those. And then there's 2 score lines here. We're going to bend those back, let that center flop up. You'll see your score lines there, burnish them. Make sure it's a nice tight burnish. And then you're going to do the same thing for the bottom. Your score lines are right there. Burnish those. And then basically your card base is finished. So here's where we started. You're going to open that up. There's side 2. Open it up again. There's side 3. And the last side is 4. Okay, so now that we've got our card base all constructed, we can move to the part where we attach our coordinating cardstock. And just for the sake of time, on the front panel, which was this side where we began, I attached 2 of the large sections and 4 of the rectangles. You open the card to the second side. I've attached 2 of the large and then 8 of the small squares. Open it again to your third side. And I attached 2 here and 4 squares. I left these blank because when I open it up to the 4th side, there you can see I attached the 2 final large squares and the 4 final squares. So this is where your fun part begins. This is where you can take your card and develop it in whatever way that you like, according to your own taste, your colors. This doesn't have to be cardstock. It can be pattern paper, whatever you like. The only caution I might give is that if you use die cuts or any other images, you might not want to go past the edge of either your pattern paper or cardstock. You wouldn't want anything to interfere with the opening of your card or the movement of it. So staying confined within those squares really does help. Now you can tell on this one, I made sure that I had my sentiment that would show on the top part, but that also as I opened it, you could also see it on the 4th side as I added stickers and embellishments along the side. So that's it. That's the never-ending card. I can't wait to see what you make, and thanks for watching.